Today we'll be talking about how to practice gratitude as a Christian on self-improvement. Number one, we have to understand the effects of gratitude on our lives when it's practiced regularly. You'll have reduced anxiety, reduced fear circuitry activation, meaning you'll be less fearful and more courageous, increased positive emotion pathways, meaning you'll just have a greater experience of life to begin with, an increased motivation, and also an increased empathy towards things. So you'll be a kinder person, you'll be more motivated, and your overall perception of reality will be greater when you practice gratitude. So if you're depressed right now, this is going to be very, very good. Not only this, but your mind to heart connection will increase dramatically, allowing you for extreme physiological change as well. Number two, we're going to focus on the improved mind to heart connection, because this is the key to actually practicing gratitude as a Christian. There are quite a few insights that I've found through studying this practice of gratitude. When you practice gratitude in the way that I'm going to tell you very, very soon, but I just want to explain to you what happens. You're altering the resting brain wavelengths that you have currently. So if you don't know what your brain wavelengths are, it goes from delta all the way to gamma, from when you're sleeping to when you're almost fearful. So what happens when you practice gratitude and when you're more present as a result? It's a very beautiful thing in which when you move from your mind, which is the worldly, to your heart, which is the divine, you leave behind all the stress and worries around you. And there's a very scientific way of explaining it, and it's to do with your brain wavelengths. When you practice gratitude and when you're present, you start to slowly drop the frequency at which you think to a lower level. When I say low, I mean a calmer level. So you go from beta, which is the effective wavelength that allows you to be alert but also anxious. It'll drop down to alpha, which is your creative space, and then theta, and then delta, and so on and so forth. Now, when you're in this state, what happens is that you're more present. When you go from the brain to the heart, this is what the Orthodox hesychasts do when they practice the Lord Jesus Christ have mercy on me prayer. They call it the prayer of the heart. It's because they go at the very start from a conscious state of always saying the Jesus prayer to then saying it within their heart, within their breath. And there's a very beautiful scene in a movie in which I think King Saladin asks this monk, oh, like, I pray 5 times a day, how many times do you pray? And he goes, every breath. And at that moment, it's like, wow, I can't believe it. It's beautiful. The reason why this is so beautiful is because that's how you're supposed to live. You're supposed to be in the moment. When you're not in the moment, it's all the source of your stress. It's all the source of your worry and your depression. And a lot of people think, oh, if I'm not worrying about things and if I'm not problem solving, how am I supposed to improve your life? Okay, if that's the case, why aren't you living the life that you want to? Why aren't you happy? That may be the case. You have to maybe think that the way you're thinking in life, if it's not actually allowing you to get to where you want to, maybe it's not the right path. And there's something very beautiful about being in the present that you can't get from anything else. Because when you're in the past and when you're in the future, you worry. You worry and you're resentful. And what they found in clinical studies is that resentment, this active thought of always thinking about the past, worrying about the future, and all of these things, and we're resentful of your own life, you actually have the opposite effect of gratitude, which is increased anxiety, increased amounts of fear, decreased amounts of proactiveness, motivation, happiness, and everything is just worse. And you've ticked up your brain wavelength, so you're constantly in the beta wavelength, the gamma wavelength, where you're just worrying, ticky, restless. It's a part of life that you have to understand is bad for you. You may think that this idea of always worrying about money, always worrying about your success is going to actually drive you towards something better, but it's never the case. And I want to give you an example that I wrote down. So I want you to think of this. This is a classic example of demotivation. Having a goal like going to the gym, And then when you're in bed, in the morning, for example, like this morning, I was supposed to wake up a lot earlier than I should have, and I was supposed to go to the gym. But I didn't, and I'll tell you why. The reason why was when I was in bed and I was having this lovely dream. It was so vivid, it was wonderful. And when I was in this moment, and then when I instantly thought of what it would be like to go to the gym at like 5:30, because that's my usual routine, I just couldn't do it. It was going from 1 to 100. Alex Hormozi has that great quote. It's like trying to beat the dragon with a wooden sword. You got to start with, the bear. And so in reality, when you're in the present, everything's a lot easier. Everything is easier to do because you're progressing life in the way it's supposed to. You're not going from 1 to 100. You're going from 1 to 2. 1 to 2 would be you getting out of bed, making your bed, putting your shoelaces on. And that's how you do it. A lot of people try to explain it to you in this way of, you just got to take it a step at a time. And that's true, but there's no purpose behind it. There's no fulfilling parts to it. And you have to understand that the reason why it works so well, the reason why the closer you are to the present, the more happier, the more motivated, the more just fulfilled you are, the more grateful you are. The reason why you are like this is because when you're in the present, you're closest to God, and you're closest to appreciating God's creation, which is you, your own body, right? How many times are you actually present within yourself, present of your breathing, present of like how your butt's literally on the chair, present of the moment around you in such a way that is almost beautiful, the stillness. And I want you to do something very simple with me right now. I want to show you this very simple thing. Just move your hand like this, right? This shows the brain wavelength, and I want you to see how effective it is. Move your hand in the exact same way I'm moving it, and look, it may not be pretty, but look, what I want you to do right now is literally slow it down with the same smoothness. Like that. Can you hear the stillness? The ticking? The buzzing? Now you see just how calm you are. So you've just lowered your own wavelength. You see how effective and great it is for your own self, for your own happiness, your own gratitude, your own life. People think that always worrying about the future goal is the best way to win. When you worry about a goal, like, I've got to get rich, you're worrying about the level 100 problem when you're at level 1. You're trying to go from 1 to 100. And I can give you all of these different metaphors and why this is wrong, but I want you to just think of it as simple as this. When you're outside of the moment and when you're no longer present, you're devoid of God's presence also. And now you're going into the devil's hands. The devil has complete control over the past and the future and how you think of it. That is why the only emotion that you feel is negativity when you think about past events, because most of the time people constantly dwell on past events that were negative. Not always do we really think about the positive events, because it just passes away like that. And it's always the negative events. We all know this. Now, this art of gratitude is so important that I need you to understand this right now. In order for you to live and be happy, to achieve your goals, you have to be present. You have to be present in the moment. And you see how even going like an hour into the future is stressful. Like me in the morning at 5 a.m. going, at 5:30 I have to go to the gym. It worries me. It stresses me out. And in that moment, I am paralyzed and I can no longer actually change. I'm not proactive. So being present when you're closer to God, when you're closest to God and His creation, you actually are more proactive. Because you're not worrying about the future issues. You're constantly just worrying about the now. And why is this so important? Because gratitude allows you to be centered within the moment. It allows you to be present because you're shifting from the brain to the heart. The Hesychasts understand this very clearly, and you can see it in the process in which they pray. They first start consciously, and it slowly becomes a subconscious. Now then if it basically becomes, gratitude is a form of dismantling the conscious and the subconscious threshold, this wall that you have between the subconscious and the conscious, allowing you to actually be creative, allowing you to actually create things in your life. Because when you're always thinking about the worldly, when you're always thinking about problems, you're not living, you're not creating, you're just in your head, you're not doing anything. And when you can slowly shift your brain towards your heart, and when your heart beats in a certain manner, and I'll explain to you what I mean by this. Writing down what you're grateful for isn't the best form of gratitude. If you truly want to reap the rewards of gratitude, which is you becoming more present within the moment and everything that comes as a result, which is basically one with God as He rests within you, you have to understand this. The part of our brain that activates as a result of gratitude, and the thing that allows us to feel this presence, only activates when we hear someone else giving gratitude, not when we give gratitude. Does that make sense? It's a difference between, oh, thank you God, this and this, and some beggar telling you thank you for giving him money. And aligns with the faith, because Matthew 25:40 says, the king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. And people think that in order to show gratitude to God, you just have to say thank you. But that is not how our own brains, our own bodies are wired. To show gratitude, we have to do unto others what we would want to do unto God. So we give to our brothers and sisters. We live a life of charity. That is how you show gratitude, and that is how you become more aligned within the moment. Think about the time maybe someone expressed genuine thankfulness towards you and how that made you feel. That is more of a gratitude practice, and what you just experienced and imagined is much more of a gratitude practice than any other thing that you've possibly ever tried. I have actually done gratitude journaling, I'll literally get it out, for the last 3 years. This right here. For the last 3 years, every single day, I would write down what I was grateful for. Like, sometimes it'd be huge, you know, like I did it for years, right? Like it's all over it, you know. This is my second one, sorry. It's not as effective as you think. Simply saying I'm grateful for something isn't effective. How you actually experience the full throttle of this beautiful practice is by either doing it, so you experience this in real life, or reading something, or reading a story that allows you to experience it. When you read someone else giving gratitude to someone else, you can experience the same benefit. And how can you do this? Read the Gospels, read certain parts of the Bible, and you will literally be doing the same thing. And here's the thing, right? Before you may have done this, but now you have a greater understanding of this. And it's the difference, it's the intent that matters. It's the intent, because clinical studies have shown it's not the amount of money someone gives to a charity, it's the intention they have behind it. It's a genuine authenticity that is shown when they give this present, this charitable gift. And so a lot of the times we only get a benefit from something if we know it is beneficial. Now, before, you may have read the Bible, you may have read the Gospels, and you've just thought of the story and everything else. But now you're going to have an increased amount of perception on the gratitude, the grateful parts of it. When Jesus did all these miracles, it is the most beautiful way of experiencing gratitude and also becoming closer to God. Not only are you reading the Gospels, but you're also becoming more present as a result. There is a genuine physiological change within your body when you do this. And when you're in the present, you're more proactive. You're no longer a victim of the past, and you're no longer a worrier of the future. And you've stopped yourself from becoming a victim of Satan. You're no longer the seed that was basically suffocated by the thorns if you know the exact parable I'm talking about. Now, I want you to really understand that. Being present, being grateful. If you found this video useful, share it. It's word of referral that really helps with this channel because it's a very small channel. And I hope to see you guys next time.